All right, hi everyone. Welcome to the next session here. My name is Tim from the program committee, and I'm here to introduce some folks from eBay to talk about their deployment journey with Passkeys. We have Mahender and Mary, and we're going to do questions at the mic towards the end, but we will use that mic in the middle, and you can also submit online. So take it away, guys. Thank you.
Hey, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining for our talk. We're going to talk about Passkeys. This conference is about Passkeys. Briefly about me, my name is Mahender. I'm a product manager at eBay. I lead authentication, account security, account management, and I've been in the identity industry for almost 10 years now. And I'm very passionate about passwordless, and that's why you see me in Authenticate every year.
Hi everyone, my name is Mary. I'm a product design lead at eBay, and for the last couple years I've been focused on improving sign-in and security, including things like two-step verification, account recovery, passkeys, and I'm passionate about creating usable and frictionless experiences across all touchpoints.
So a little bit about the agenda today. We'll talk about problems with password. Everyone knows it's the root of all evil. We'll share some data about eBay's passwordless journey. We'll share approach and best practices that you can take away and implement in your passwordless journey. And we'll also share some of the challenges and next steps ahead for eBay. So briefly about eBay, it's a marketplace that connects sellers and buyers around the world. We have at any time around 2 billion live listings across 190 markets with a GMV of $18.4 billion per quarter, which is actually the value of the items that are getting sold within a quarter. And we have at any time around 130 to 132 million active buyers that taps into one of the world's most diverse inventories. Let's face it, passwords are a relic of the digital age. They are frustrating to set up, hard to remember, easy to steal, and a constant source of customer support headaches for every industry out there, right? And in fact, password management is one of the top reasons why our customers, reach out to the customer service. Across the industry, there is a growing sense of paranoia and authentication fatigue amongst customers who are using passwords and one-time passcodes to sign in. And this is due to the growing rise in phishing scams. So customers are demanding stronger security measures across the world. But here's the catch. They want the peace of mind that comes with a stronger authentication mechanism without sacrificing the simplicity of a seamless, user-friendly authentication process. So if you look at eBay is an early adopter of passwordless technology, and we have implemented different passwordless technologies out there, including the Passkeys. We feel it's the time to break free from the password prison. And so where are we right now? So if you look at our numbers, we are kind of going through a bit of an adoption curve right now. So we are at 14% adoption rate. We have over 25 million users who are enrolled into Passkeys, and they use Passkeys as a primary source of authentication mechanism with a sign-in success rate of 93%. Let me now hand it over to Mary to talk about the journey and approach we took and also share some of the best practices.
Thank you, Mahender. So when we look back from 2023 until now, we've made a lot of progress in increasing our adoption rate with Passkeys, especially with a renewed emphasis on the user experience. And early last year, we also set out to audit all of our sign-in and security flows, including our existing biometric-based flows. And at this time, we were also looking out there across different trends in the industry and noticed at the same time Apple had started referring to this credential as a passkey. And internally, amongst ourselves and on behalf of our customers, we wondered if they understood what a passkey is and if this resonated with our user base. So We took this opportunity to prioritize foundational research. So early last year, we focused first on just asking these questions and understanding the user's current perception of passkeys and how that impacts sign-in and their journey on eBay. So this research informed our roadmap, and we set on this two-phase plan, where phase one, we worked on introducing passkeys on all supported platforms and devices, and we've now successfully completed phase one and rolled it out last year. And now we're in this phase two, where we are now expanding to different entry points and also continuing to iterate and develop more personalized strategies on different platforms and devices. And so with UX research, we conducted usability testing with our US-based sellers to validate several concepts we designed and put together. And so this included different touch points, including creating a brand new account on eBay with a passkey. We also looked at native sign-in, specifically iOS, and signing in with passkeys. And we also tested upgrading existing accounts to passkeys. And basically what we learned at this point last year was that our sellers or users that we tested didn't fully comprehend the relationship between passkeys and biometrics, and they basically use them interchangeably. And they also struggle to understand, the details of how you store this credential and whether or not that was stored on their eBay account. And so with research, we set out to create our UX tenets that we would turn to when we would roll this out across all of our platforms and devices. And conveniently at the same time, we of course were looking across the industry and the FIDO Alliance, and they also unveiled their UX guidelines around the same time. So it was just great timing for us at eBay to be focused on this initiative again. And so the tenets we leaned into here and continue to rely on are these four. We want to make sure we're using handshakes because we are a cross-platform ecosystem at eBay, and we want to help users feel confident about the operating system they're on and how passkeys work on their operating system. And also familiarity. Some of these users might be familiar with biometrics, but they might not understand the nuances of how this credential is stored, but we can help develop that concept a little better by creating more familiar language. And then prompting passkeys. So when they set it up, we want to make sure that, on top of getting them set up, we're actually proactively prompting passkeys across all touch points, not just sign in. And scaling our patterns, with design thinking, we want to make sure we're scaling and being consistent across all account-related touch points on the journey. And so now we're going to talk about some best practices that we have learned through our journey so far. So on the enrollment prompt, you're going to want to enable a degree of personalization across all your platforms. And our approach to get there involved a lot of testing and iterating, as we've seen other organizations talk about. And our approach to get there led us to eventually simplify back to what's familiar. So when we first launched this prompt on the left, we really doubled down on educating with using passkeys in the headline. We even included it in the blue call to action here, add a passkey. And we used the body content area to communicate from our findings and what we were seeing as the main benefits. So first point here, we talked again about face, fingerprint, touch, PIN, concepts they're probably already familiar with. And then, of course, calling out security. This is the next generation of security, and addressing that preliminary question we had, like, where is this thing stored? So we use that third bullet to talk about credential and password managers. So we were averaging around 5% with this first prompt on the left, and then we kept going. We kept testing and noticed that others were adapting to simplifying also. So we also put a test out there where we removed, in this middle concept here, we removed the word passkey in the headline. We added a subhead to talk about the speed and had one mention of passkey there, but overall, we also removed it from the blue call to action and changed it back to something simple like continue, and didn't really change too much in the body content in the second test here. And we saw that those subtle changes increased adoption from 5 to 8%. And then we kept going and kind of looking at what Google was doing. They had a lot more visual illustration to depict this sort of concept, complicated technology. So we thought we can bring some familiarity with showing Face ID, even a QR code now, fingerprint. And again, just kept simplifying the bullets down to a blurb. And we saw that actually increase the adoption as well from 8 to 10%. And we landed on this final prompt on the left in that series of tests where we just kept simplifying even more. And we went from 10 to 12%. By the time we were ready to roll this out on Windows, we took that opportunity to now elaborate on what the actual credential manager is on Windows. So we altered that line of text to say Windows Hello for the Windows users. And when we compared it to the version on the left, that actually increased adoption as well. So we landed at 14% on Windows. Now, once you get them set up with Passkeys, we then focused on solving for the cross-platform users. So at eBay, we know a large population are multi-device users. They're on different devices all the time. So we want to make enrollment easy as well as management of your passkey. It should be just as frictionless when you go to your settings on an account level. I want to be able to see a passkey. For example, if I set it up on Google Chrome, on web, it should still work seamlessly when I access my account on native iOS. And any subsequent reauth that might happen, not just sign in, but there's a lot of step-ups and reauth that can happen throughout eBay. And I'm going to pass it back to Mahender.
Thank you, Mary. So I think one of the most critical takeaways that I would like you all to take away from this talk would be to reduce reliance on passwords and OTPs. I think these passwords and OTPs are traditional authentication methods. They are susceptible to phishing attacks and they compromise the security posture. So there are different ways you can solve this problem. So one of the ways that we did is for users who are already enrolled with Passkeys, if they signed up or signed in with passwords, we actually step them up with Passkeys so that they have that sticky experience of using Passkeys across devices wherever they are signing in. The other approach could be that you could implement strong authentication factors like push notification based sign-in mechanism. So these are smarter alternatives for users who don't want to use Passkeys. And then device binding is something that everyone should implement. It's a low friction method to silently gather assurance of the device, and it can continuously get users to signing in onto your apps and websites. So I think by strategically combining these approaches, you can actually build a much seamless and a secure authentication experience for your customers. Now, there are countless opportunities to introduce Passkeys to into the user journey, right? And consider moments where the user is already engaged in authentication. So that includes, your sign-in flows, your forgot your password flows, your two-step verification journeys, and step-up authentication. These are all prime times to highlight the benefits of Passkeys and encourage enrollment. But don't stop there. Like, you can look at other entry points like registration, post-transactional journeys can also be as effective. One of the things that we learned is that tailoring your value proposition based on the user, the device, the activity, or the intent can actually further drive adoption of Passkeys. However, it's crucial to tread carefully here. Overwhelming users with too many enrollment prompts can also lead to frustration and annoyance. So striking the right balance by strategically placing enrollment options and ensuring that the value prop is clear is of paramount importance. So if you look at eBay, broadly there are two user cohorts. We have buyers and we have sellers. And interestingly, our data revealed that 80% of users who enrolled into Passkeys were actually buyers. And eBay is actually committed to making the enthusiast buyer experience even more seamless. So our lead engineer here is sitting somewhere right there. I can't see him, Ilango. He took a deep dive into the errors faced by these power users, right? And we discovered a significant number of users were encountering an error called key ID not found. And this was due to the way the user ID property was encoded within the FIDO dance that happens on the device. So, and most of these errors were also associated with the conditional mediation flow or the autofill feature of Passkeys. So taking a user-centric approach, we actually decided to remove the conditional mediation feature for our users. And this actually resulted in a dramatic increase in Passkeys sign-in success rate. We still have conditional mediation when we remember the user or if this user does not face this error, but we only remove it from the username identifier page that we have at sign-in. So something to keep in mind, like optimize for your power users when you're trying to build systems and flows that are highly technical, like Passkeys. Effective communication is paramount when introducing significant changes like Passkeys. And we believe that transparency builds trust and helps users understand the benefits and potential impact of a technology like Passkeys. And so what I would leave you with is, consider using a multi-channel communication strategy. So what we did was we send targeted or personalized emails highlighting the advantages of Passkeys and also guiding the users to enroll into Passkeys with clear steps. You could update your help pages and your documentation so that users can reach these help pages and understand how the process works. We also held sessions with our power users, explaining them the benefit of Passkeys and how to use them on the platform itself. And also come to conferences like this and talk and collaborate with the FIDO community and learn from each other. So transitioning users into a passwordless world is not a small feat. And one of our biggest challenges that has been educating users about this new technology. However, we believe that the investment in user education will pay off in the long run. And another hurdle that we have been facing is the varying interoperability support across Apple, Google, and Microsoft. And this is where FIDO plays a huge role in standardizing these processes, making it easier for relying parties like eBay and others to implement passwordless technologies. Our goal is to create a passwordless future for our users, and I think it's a vision that's worth striving for. What do you guys think? And the next steps moving forward, we will still continue on our journey to hyper-personalize, to drive passkey adoption and usage by doing rapid experimentation. And we are also looking at using passkeys for regulatory compliance. We have heard this across multiple talks today around passkeys for regulatory compliance. And the mantra remains test, adapt, and learn. Thank you for listening to us, and let's together build a passwordless digital world.
All right, we have one question online, and anyone in the room, just go ahead up to the mic and queue there. What are the recovery options for passkey users on eBay?
That's a good question. So we have users, when they enroll into passkeys, we also make sure that they verify their phone numbers and email addresses. So we have SMS OTP and email OTP as the option. We are also planning to incorporate stronger authentication methods like push notifications and authenticated apps and the device prompts that you saw here as part of the account recovery journey as well.
That's all the online questions. Any other questions in the room?
Hello, thank you for the presentation. My name is Kyle with Gisa Credit Union. So you mentioned that you're going entirely with hardware or device-based passkeys. Is that correct?
No, we have implemented synced passkeys as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's mostly synced passkeys right now. I think Windows had device-bound passkeys, so we have device-bound passkeys for Windows, but majority is synced passkeys.
Okay, and then I guess a second question. With your cross-tenant users, people who have Windows, Android, Apple, and all three, or whatever they're using, how are you handling if maybe they have a passkey on Windows but they haven't moved over to one of their other tenants, and they still, do they still have a password at that point, or what's happening to them while they're still in a mid-transition between cross-tenant?
Yeah, that's a good question too. I think, what we learned was there are very few users who are using cross-device, the hybrid approach, right, the QR code-based sign-ins. But if users were not able to use passkeys on a specific device, we had other fallback mechanisms. So we call it the personalized sign-in. So we find what is the best sign-in method for that user on that device and the next best sign-in method, and we provide that. So that could be SMS OTP for some users. It could be social logins like sign in with Facebook, Google, and Apple for certain users. It could be passwords for some users too. And the goal is to slowly move along by reducing reliance on passwords into some of the stronger authentication methods.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, another one online. Did you see password resets go down?
We did. That is a good byproduct of implementing passwordless technologies, right? So you do see password resets go down significantly, and especially when we combined it with this personalized sign-in strategy, we saw even more password resets go down, and we were now able to get a new baseline for our password recovery rate.
Any other questions in the room? Going once? Twice? All right. Well, please thank our presenters from eBay for the session, and we'll wrap up here.